Hey guys, I hope you're doing well and staying safe at home. I know that we are in a quarantine right now and not able to meet in person, so this is the next best thing. So let's just jump right into it and see what we're going to be learning today. And it's going to be about understanding about the home base as well as the different positions in volleyball. So there are a few basic and essential things that you guys need to understand when playing volleyball. I've divided it up into 4 general concepts to make it a lot easier to understand. The first being that the court is divided into the front row and the back row. The second is that players typically specialize in one of 3 areas when playing on the court. The first is the left side, the second, the middle, and the third, the right side. The third concept is going to be based on the different positions as well as your counterparts in the lineup. Now, for volleyball, the term counterpart isn't typically a volleyball term, but in this case, I think it makes more sense to call it counterpart so that you folks can better understand it. And as a side note, when I do refer to your counterpart, what I'm referring to is the other person who plays the same position as you when you rotate to either the front or the back row. And our fourth and final concept for today will be encompassing all 3 of the concepts before and learning base. And what I like to say is that it's our home base, and what it is where the players stand on the court when the opponent has the ball during a rally. Now, a rally is when the ball is being exchanged back and forth between you and your opponent, and you are returning the ball over the net to the opponent's side. And when that happens, you return to your home base. So with laying out our 4 concepts, let's jump straight into our first concept, which is dividing the court into the front row as well as the back row. Okay, and transitioning straight into our second concept, which is the left, middle, and right side. And out the gate, we're going to be combining our first and second concept together because that creates the different positions on the court. So starting off with our left front, because we're dividing the court not only with left, middle, and right, but including our first concept, which is front and back. Our second is going to be middle front, third, right front, fourth, left back, fifth, middle back, and sixth, right back. The first 2 concepts are fairly easy and easy to remember. So now we're going to transition into our third concept, which is a little bit more confusing. So just stay with me, be patient, and I'll try to explain it as clear and slowly as possible. So in our third concept of counterparts and positions, just remember that when we play volleyball, 6 people are allowed to be on the court at once. So when you set your lineup up, you would start in position 1, which is right back, and then follow to position 2, which is middle back, position 3, left back, position 4, left front, position 5, middle front, and position 6, right front. And in this concept, what you're going to notice is that 2 of the different numbers have the same color. For example, position 1 and position 4 are the same color of black, Position 2, position 5 are the same color, red, and position 3 and position 6 are the same color, blue. Now, here comes the fun part. The reason why 1 and 4 are connected is because they're both right side players. The reason 2 and 5 are connected is because they are both middle players. And the reason 3 and 6 are connected is because they are both left side players. So, what I need you folks to do is just to remember and make a mental note of what players belong on what side of the court. Now remember, back in concept 2, the court was divided from left, middle, and right side, because once we move on to concept 4, you're going to see a little bit different positions. So we're going to move right along and talk about the different positions that there are in volleyball. So the first side that I wanted to touch upon is the right side players, which are position 1 and position 4. In position 1, they're also known as the setter, which, if you do know American football, is kind of like their quarterback, but in volleyball. So what the setter needs to do is they always get the second ball, but they are involved in practically every single point because they are touching the second ball every single time and directing the offense for your team. In position 4, they're actually known as the opposite, or oppo as we like to call them, because since they are on the right side, when the setter is setting, they're behind them. So what the setter needs to do in order to set this attacker, they need to set a back set which goes over the opposite side of the person hitting, because typically in volleyball, most people are right-handed. So when the ball is being set over their shoulder to their dominant hand, it's coming from the opposite side, which is why they are called the opposite hitter. For our middle players, position 2 and 5, they're also known as middle blockers. What their objective is to do is to set up blocks when the opposite team is attacking, as well as take away open area for the opposing team's attacker to score, and for your defense to set up so that they can receive the ball from the attackers. For left side players, in position 3, they're also known as the outside hitter, number 1. And because they're known as the number 1, they are the number 1 attacker for your team, and also tend to be one of the best defenders as well, because like setters, they actually play all the way around and hardly ever get subbed out. In position 6, they're also known as the outside hitter. However, they're known as the second outside hitter, and that's because in their position, they start in right front, so it only takes one rotation for them to be put in the back row, and now their main objective is to defend. So how are we doing, guys? You guys still with me? I know it's a lot of information to take in all at once, so don't worry, again, if you don't get it the first time. You can replay this video as much as you like, but I'll also be building off of this as my foundation, so you'll be hearing all of these terms consistently throughout the term. So if you guys are still with me, let's move on to our concept number 4. And in concept number 4, when you hear coaches and players referring to base, what they're referring to is the side that your position plays, so like in our earlier concepts of setters and oppositions, they play on the right side. Outside hitters and defensive specialists play in the left, and middle blockers play in the middle. So when we're talking about home base, again, that's when the ball is put over to your opponent's side. You always have to return to the side of your position, which is called base. And if you folks remembered from our concept number 3, I had you folks looking at the starting lineup where position 4 was in left front and position 6 was in right front. And now you see that they've switched because, again, position 6 is a left side hitter, so they go on the left side for home base, and position 4 is a right side hitter, which is why they're on the right side for base. The key to remembering what side you go on is to remember the position you play and the corresponding side. So again, setters and oppositions are on the right side, middle blockers, middle, and outside hitters and defensive specialists on the left. Again, I know, confusing, but I'll keep going over it and we'll keep touching on it. So let's move on. I have a little assignment for you folks, and it's really easy, so don't worry. All I want you folks to do is do a little research about the different positions that we went over, like the setter, the outside hitter, and a middle, to see which position most intrigues you or interests you. Look at video content on YouTube, on TikTok, blogs, however you gather information to see what position you'd like to play. And what I just need from you folks is to write your favorite position and why you chose it. Explain to me why you want to be a setter or why you would want to be an outside hitter. And I can't wait to hear all of your thoughts. I hope this video helped you folks in learning the home base as well as a little bit more about the different positions in volleyball. And what we're going to be talking about next week is going to be about more positioning. However, it'll be about serve, receive, and serving. So I hope you guys are ready to learn a little bit more. I'm so excited to teach you folks, and I can't wait to hear back from you. I'll see you guys next week.